there's nothing more that triggers the Marxist leftists in science fiction and fantasy publishing than artificial intelligence. And now, after Asimov's got canceled for using AI art for a cover, the magazine of fantasy and science fiction now is under fire, and they're scrambling real quick and virtue signaling. But they're going to run into a big problem in the coming years in that nobody's going to be able to tell from the editorial whether something is AI generated or not. They have to go through and do this like autistic sleuthing to be able to find it. And that's the only way they can really find out. So if they're buying any art at this point, there are mostly artists using assets, at least that are partially comprised of AI, and it's only going to get more so as the functionality increases with all this stuff exponentially. So let's get into this news in just a moment. I think it's very short-sighted for these short fiction writers to be canceling a couple of the paid fiction markets. They've actually been going after these couple of just historical fiction markets for a long time. This entire year, it's like they're looking for a reason to try to bring them down. And that's what cancel culture is, right? And so we oppose that here, and we've always opposed that in science fiction and fantasy. This is your real sci-fi and fantasy news, reporting the things nobody else will out there. And I appreciate you for being here. So please hit the like and subscribe button and join us. And I'm a science fiction writer myself. This is my Stars Entwined. And I actually, this is an AI cover right here. I have a real human cover on the paperback, and I was finding that my Kindle Unlimited view sales were actually not as good with this cover as with this. Believe it or not, it's just is what it is. Now, I try to make it look more like a classic 80s feel vibe, like that you'd get from like Daw books or Baen books back in the day. And that is what I'm going for here because that's kind of what my writing is. And so I'd like for you to check this out. If you like space opera, if you like military science fiction, check it out. It does work better on Amazon, even though I'm using, of course, the real human art for the physical cover, which is done by a great artist, by the way. I just find that this sells better, and that's a very interesting phenomenon on this level, that's been the case in my A/B testing, despite the fact that Asimov's an analog is bowing to the mob on this. There's real business realities going on here as well. So check it out. It's in the description below. Thank you guys for supporting our work. This is a trilogy, and the other two books are in the description below. I did not change the covers for those because actually on Amazon, the advertising, only book one really matters because that's what people click on and find first. If they like book one, then they'll read book two is kind of how it goes. And it's available on ebook, print, and audio. Thank you guys for being here. Interesting little tidbit of information of just kind of how it works. And of course, these people just kind of flipping out about things. It's really an emotional sort of thing about AI. I think all of these people are extremely scared of it because it is doing very, very good work. And of course, on the art level, you can get some pretty interesting stuff here. This is a AI mech that they put up right here. This is their current AI piece of walking through like a Martian landscape. And it looks a lot like some pretty quality stuff that they'd have in the past from these different magazines and the like. Well, that's pretty making the artists out there mad. That's making the fiction writers out there mad. And all of them kind of realize that most of their stuff's going to get replaced pretty easily by AI. And, honestly, a lot of these people who submit to these magazines and the like, they're not actual professional writers. They claim they are. And, of course, they get the editorial to approve them, and it makes them feel good about themselves. But if you don't know, like, they get like 8 cents a word off these fiction pieces. So if they are selling one that's like, say, 4,000 words, they're getting $300 for it. And say they sell 4 or 5 a year, you're talking like $1,000. This is hobby money. This is not real money. None of these people are actual professionals at this type of thing. For an example, just as a contrast for what I did, I brought in around $160,000 of gross revenue last year on my writing. So it's a little bit different than what these guys are doing. And they see this is exactly why they've tried to cancel this channel and cancel what we're doing this entire time because they're mad about it. I did not meet their approval of the gatekeepers. And this is the same thing. The barrier to entry for doing art, for doing things now, and soon to do movies, which I'm really excited about, is getting lower all the time. And it's not costing as much to do. You can make your own covers. You can do your own things like that you never were able to do before. And that's making it harder for them to get seen in this environment. And they know that. They know that the more people that don't have the barrier to entry, that have the creativity, that they won't get seen. And that's really what this is all about. And so they've been working hard to cancel Asimov's analogs and the fantasy and science fiction magazine over the last year because of different things right here. The first beginning I saw of this was a couple months ago on this cover, which is a different one. And this is AI art that the background art here was bought from a Shutterstock. And so whoever bought it just didn't see that it said AI assets were used in the making of this, and did not realize that. Now, the artist on there also has non-AI art assets, and so it's probably somebody they've used before and the like, and so they just put it on there and then put the cover up like this and the like, and didn't realize it. Well, of course, other magazines are pissing off and going, a magazine may not injure a human creator through inaction or lack of due diligence, allow a human creator to lose income. And of course, he's referencing Asimov's law of robotics trying to attack this magazine. And they're not just being attacked on that. This has been bought by a company in Florida, these 3 magazines, including Analog and, of course, F&SF as well. And they're canceling them over their new contracts, too, which the company says that their contracts are based on insurance and what they're required to have for foreign rights and the like. And all these authors are going crazy over it for these like $300 short stories, which is just like, something that's been going on as well with this company. They've been canceled on that front. They're canceled on this front. This is from June 2024, also an AI asset from last year that Asimov's used, and now the magazine of science fiction and fantasy and science fiction is getting hit for the exact same thing. Now, they actually put out a statement on it because they're getting so much heat of it. Thanks so much for the greater SFF community for taking time to bring several important issues to our attention. Among those issues, we've also been informed that the artist F&SF commissioned some time ago under previous ownership and publisher. Look at how they passed the buck even in that. It was the previous ownership's fault before we publish this now. For a recent cover may have included some AI-generated art. Look at this. It may have included some, maybe. We are so grateful for the heads up from the reading community. Their fast action grace helped us, and right on time. Oh, please clap, everybody. For our new works and the new artist contracts, we have a clear policy of not publishing or using AI-generated work. Yeah, well, you're not going to be able to tell. Again, unless somebody actually looks at the art and goes and finds that somebody said somewhere it was generated by AI. I don't know that you're going to be able to tell the difference in a lot of times, especially with real artists who, if the real artists take this and touch it up or use AI to touch up their own art, there's no real way to tell at this juncture. I'm working with one artist. I actually work with several in the field in comics. I've got 9 graphic novels under development, and one of them is actually using AI to ink over his work. So he does it in pencil, by hand, and then scans it, and then makes the inks pop and makes the shading fill in based on with AI. He has to go back and then edit it from there. But how are you going to be able to tell that that's quote AI when he actually hand drew the scene and hand laid out everything and actually did the perspectives himself on that level? There's no way you'd be able to tell. And so as these tools get more and more prevalent, this is the same thing. Now, it's pretty interesting because Neon from Clownfish TV was actually talking about this, and people were pushing back against him because he says there's always this kind of thing with technology. And he was actually talking about Wacom tablets, which is using tablets to draw rather than drawing by hand, and showed that there were a bunch of Reddit posts saying that those aren't real artists and those people shouldn't be bought, and those are hurting real hand drawing artists. The same sort of thing just a few years ago on this kind of thing. As I said, as it gets better and more prevalent and actually ends up being a tool, like I just said, I even think the better artists are going to be able to use AI better than somebody like me. I can prompt something, but I can't do something cool like that. I think those artists are really going to get ahead who are actually utilizing things, right? And so for our new works, the new artist contracts, we have a clear policy of not publishing or using AI-generated work. As such, we've decided to pull the cover art from the upcoming issue. We are committed to supporting talented, brilliant human artists, and support is crucial in helping us uphold that standard. Again, thank you for your valuable feedback and continued support. Yeah, like I said, this is a please clap situation because, again, they're not even going to be able to tell half the time. They're not even going to be able to know half the time. And they only responded to this because of outrage, because obviously they didn't know ahead of time, because these are people who are anti-AI right now. And it's like I said, because they're fearing that their whole structure is going to collapse. And it is. The short fiction market is pretty much dead. There's not a lot of short fiction magazines out there. There's a handful of them that even pay this level of rates to people. And so none of these people actually make a living off of doing this kind of thing. These are all pretenders doing this. And so not only on this level, but on the short story level, you can make short fiction that is undistinguishable from human fiction. And I've actually sold short stories under a pen name to different magazines like this a couple of times, just to kind of prove that point. I don't really spend a lot of time on short fiction because it doesn't make a lot of money. But I wanted to prove the point that nobody could tell, even these editors that were doing that, and that has happened. Now, of course, I didn't give them my real name, because if I did, I'm already canceled by these people and they wouldn't do that. But that's happening, and that's why these people are so flipped out, because they know, one, what they're writing and all that is not that interesting or viable for a market. That's the whole point. And because of that, what's going to be happening is AI is going to be replacing even the modest $1,000 they're making a year very, very quickly. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll be back soon. Oh, don't forget to check out my books. Appreciate it.